there's so many different ways that you can cope immediately after a death. The most important part to remember for me is that there's no right or wrong way to grieve. You know, everybody's different, everybody's grief journey is individualistic to them. So it's just recognising that all feelings are healthy and normal. If grieving for you means, you know, staying in bed and kind of watching movies and stuff to make yourself feel better, that's fine. If you want to get out and be with your friends and your family and sort of continue life, that's also okay. You know, there's no sort of set way to grieve, there's no rule book on how to do this. So taking it at your own pace and finding what feels comfortable for you is probably the most healthy thing that you can do for yourself immediately after grief.
It hits for different people at like different times, you know, and I know for me personally, it took a long time for it to hit with me, and I didn't really know how to deal with it, and that's okay. It's okay to not know how to deal with it, but at the end of the day, it's really important that you don't isolate yourself from the people who love you and who might be going through similar things to you as well. Say it as it is. If you just say to them, you know, I'm all right, I'm okay. It's more important if you just say how you're feeling. If it's the worst experience of your life, tell the people around you that, because they will care about you. But in saying that, it's also important to take time for yourself as well. And those two things kind of contradict each other, but that's the thing about grief. It all comes in waves, and it's all about how you cope with it in the moment. And that leads into self-care, which is so important.
So self-care might be a phrase that you've heard thrown around a lot and not really understand what it means, but that's because self-care isn't just one definition or one bandage that'll fix any problem. It has to be what you enjoy. So that could be lighting a candle and sitting and thinking to yourself. That could be reading a book. That could be playing your favourite sport. Whatever it is that works for you, that makes you feel the best. But the most important thing is that you use the self-care to your own advantage. So that doesn't mean you have to let everyone else in and involved in it. That could be, it's just personal to you, or it could mean that you work with your parents or your friends and you go out all the time, or you stick to yourself. It just has to be personal, the same way that grief might affect you in a different way than it will affect anyone else.
There's no sort of timeline with grief, so you don't have to feel better after like a few months or, you know, a year. It's a sort of lifelong thing. So just recognising that it can be hard and you're going to feel really sad sometimes or feel really rubbish, but you can also still feel happy. It's complicated, but I think that's okay, and just recognising that can be really helpful after grief.